The night had fallen over Monaco, but the city didn't sleep. It shimmered. Golden light spilled from the balconies of penthouse suites, and the Mediterranean glimmered like liquid glass. Somewhere in the heart of this playground for the rich, an invitation had arrived in a plain, cream-colored envelope. No name, no return address, just an embossed gold emblem that only a handful of people in the world would recognize that IT was the mark of the Orbis Club, a society so secretive that even billionaires whispered its name with caution. To receive an invitation meant one thing: you were either very lucky or very doomed. The recipient this time was Adrian Voss, a self-made tech magnate whose fortune had grown faster than his reputation could keep up. He'd built empires, dismantled competitors, and bought entire islands for the sheer thrill of it. But what he didn't know, what nobody outside the club knew, was that the Orbis Club wasn't about wealth. It was about control. The invitation contained no instructions, only a date, a time, and a location. La Residence Noire, a villa that didn't appear on any map. No driver would take you there, no GPS could track it, and yet, at precisely 9 p.m., a vintage black Rolls-Royce Phantom arrived at Adrian's private dock. The chauffeur, silent and dressed in an immaculate suit, opened the door without a word. The ride was eerily quiet. Adrian tried to catch glimpses through the tinted glass, but the city faded quickly into a blur of winding roads and shadowy forest. Finally, they stopped before an iron gate twice the height of a man. The gates opened slowly, as if weighed down by centuries of secrets. Inside, the villa's architecture was strange. It was a fusion of old European grandeur and something far older. Roman columns intertwined with symbols Adrian couldn't place. A butler led him to a candlelit hall where a long table stretched into darkness. Seated along it were perhaps a dozen others, each dressed in black, their faces half hidden by Venetian masks, that a man at the head of the table spoke. His voice was calm, cultured, but it carried an undercurrent of something almost dangerous. "Mr. Voss," he said, "we have been watching you." Adrian smirked, trying to match the man's composure. "That's flattering, but I'm curious, why am I here?" The man gestured to a small, ornate box in front of Adrian. "Inside is your key. You have 3 choices tonight. Accept it and you join us. Decline and we will never speak again. Destroy it and you will never be able to leave this place the same way you came in." Adrian opened the box. Inside, on a bed of black velvet, lay an ancient coin, gold, heavy, engraved with that same emblem from the envelope. But as his fingers brushed it, something strange happened. The candles in the room flickered. The faces of the masked figures seemed to blur for a fraction of a second, as though they were not entirely human. The man's voice cut through his confusion. "This coin buys more than power, Mr. Voss. It buys certainty. You will never lose a negotiation. You will never make the wrong investment. Every decision you take will lead to success." But, he leaned forward, every coin has 2 sides. Adrian felt a strange pull toward it, an irrational desire to possess it. But somewhere deep inside, an instinct screamed danger. He looked around the table. Some of the masked members were watching him intently. Others seemed almost impatient, as if willing him to choose. "What's the catch?" Adrian asked, his voice quieter now. The man at the head of the table smiled. "The cost is minimal. Each year, you must offer something of value back to the club. Wealth, influence, information, or something less tangible. And if I refuse..." The man's smile faded. "Nobody refuses. Not twice." The air in the room seemed to grow heavier, almost electric. Adrian glanced again at the coin. He could walk away and forget this ever happened, if they let him. Or he could take it, embrace unimaginable power, and live with the consequences. His fingers closed around the coin. In that instant, the room seemed to shift. The masks turned toward him in unison, and every candle flared brighter. The man at the head of the table raised a glass. "Welcome, Mr. Voss, to the only game that matters." From that night on, Adrian's life changed. Deals that should have collapsed in disaster turned into victories. Rivals vanished. Fortunes multiplied. But with every success came an inexplicable loss. A friend disappearing, a project failing without reason, a part of his life slipping away. Years later, When he finally realized the true price of the coin, it was too late. The Orbis Club doesn't return what it takes. And as the shadows closed in around him, Adrian learned the final truth. In their world, certainty was never a gift. It was the most dangerous trap of all.